a big believer that you can forecast who had the best NFL draft. I don't know how a 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th rounder is going to do, but I have felt through the years I can be more accurate assessing who won the draft if I combine your free agent moves with your top 2 or maybe 3 picks. Then my accuracy on, grading what you did, looking how you improved, much easier. And using that, the Chicago Bears, more than any NFL team, will simply look different. They upgraded personnel more than any NFL franchise, almost all of it on offense. One team, the Chicago Bears, between Keenan Allen, DeAndre Swift, Gerald Everett, Caleb Williams, Rome Odunze, that's a grown-up group. And because the division is now so stacked offensively, go look at Minnesota's offensive personnel, Green Bay's in Detroit. There's only one way to win in that division, and it's not defense. You're going to have to outscore people. 3 offensive coaches, and the Bears have a defensive coach. So last season, the Chicago Bears were 27th in passing. They're not going to look anything like that this season. They were a terrible fourth quarter team. They could not play from behind. You have to be able to play from behind, especially in a division with 3 offensive coaches and stacked offensive rosters. The Bears couldn't last year, but now they have 2 legit receivers and now a rookie who could be a 3rd, 2 legit tight ends, NFL productive, a good running back, 2 legitimate tackles, and yes, a much better quarterback. It's not close. Caleb Williams is significantly more talented, more accurate than Justin Fields. So the first time I can ever remember the Bears having a top 7, 8, 9, 10 offensive personnel group. This is a real team, a real offense. And if you count free agency and your top couple of picks, no NFL team, and it's the right side of the ball, will look more different than the Chicago Bears. One of the best receiver groups in the league, one of the most talented quarterbacks, better than average tight end, a running back that can catch. Poles is a former offensive lineman. I like both their tackles. This is the way. This is the side of the ball. And no team upgraded more than the Chicago Bears if you count free agency and their top couple of picks.
Okay. That's the end of the clip. So, okay. I agree completely with what Colin is saying. Right, I think it's indisputable, the upgrades and the moves that they made, and I think that they're all really, really positive. And I think they're going to be good. But they're not, I don't see them reaching their true potential. And I think there can be some major concerns. And this is what I've been talking about for a while, especially since the offseason and, all the talk about Caleb and stuff, is the coaching. A lot of people think that their head coach is a lame duck coach. That's a terrible way to go into the season with all these new pieces and all of this. How much does that locker room support that coach? And when they face adversity, which they're going to face, how much do they trust and believe in him? If they start 2-2, 2-3, and he says, "Come on, guys, let's rally, let's go," are people thinking, "Man, you're out. You're on your way out anyway." I'm just not so sure. And I know they upgraded with an OC, so their offense should at the very least be run better, because that's the whole issue when you have a defensive head coach. But here's the thing. On one side, good players, of course, can make a coach look better than they are, and can also hide inefficiencies and lack of skill set, whether it be in the team itself or just other coaches as well. And on the other side, sometimes when you have a lot of raw talent and you need a coach, you need a conductor to be able to pull it all together, then that team could be a disaster without a good coach. And so make no mistake about it. I've been saying this forever at this point now. The 49ers, everyone loves to use the 49ers as this model because they have all these great pieces. People see it as really like the most stacked roster. If anything, people just like to say, well, what about the quarterback? And that's why they talk about the 49ers being so good, because they're like, man, imagine if Patrick Mahomes was the quarterback, or Josh Allen, or Joe Burrow. Like, my God, how crazy would that be? And the truth is that if Shanahan was not the head coach, the 49ers would not be as good. You can't just give all those pieces, all those players, and then just expect them to play good. It's not how it works. And the perfect example of this is look no further than the Eagles for the last 2 seasons. This is a perfect textbook example. They had a great offensive coordinator and a great defensive coordinator, and their head coach, there seems to be some confusion as to what exactly he does. But we know the defensive coordinator has his fingerprints all over the defense, and the offense, and Shane Steichen was the play caller. I mean, it doesn't get more offensive driven than that when you're the literal play caller and play designer. They were a Super Bowl team, literally a play away from winning the Super Bowl. Then they had to, because both the OC and DC got head coaching jobs. So they got a new OC and a new DC. The team was virtually the same. A lot of the same pieces. A few changes here and there, of course. And Jalen Hurts was banged up. That can't be, understated. But they did not look the same. Even before, Jalen got hurt and was banged up in that, they were not the same team. I watched every single Eagles game. Their offense, it was brutal to watch them play offense. Every play was like, oh my God. It was just like running through quicksand. There was never open receivers, never space to run. I mean, it was just brutal. And Troy Aikman even caught it out. He said, I forget what the OC's name is now at this point, but he was like, calling plays is a lot more difficult than people realize. And when the play caller leaves, there can be a lot of issues. And so to me, that's really all the proof I need. So make no mistake about it. The Chiefs are not winning all these Super Bowls without Andy Reid. Andy Reid matters. Spags matters. Shane Steichen for the Eagles mattered. It's just the reality. And I think that when you have a player like a Caleb Williams, who is just pure raw talent, that can do unbelievable things, who I think will absolutely shine the NFL, he needs a true legit coach. He needs a true legit offensive mind that can really mold him, sculpt him, talk to him, minimize his mistakes, maximize the moments for him to be Caleb Williams, know when to pull him back, know when to say, hey, Caleb, be you. That's an art in itself. Something that Andy Reid has mastered. So I just think that that's where the Bears can run into trouble. And listen, people are kind of high on the new OC coming from Seattle, which I get it. They're like, look what he did with Geno Smith and all that. I get it. So I'm not saying that they're just, I'm not telling you they're not going to be good. They're going to win 6 games. The biggest point that you should take away from this is that I don't think they'll be as good as they could be if they had an actual offensive head coach or a better OC. And this is where the Bears, they made huge strides, and they did, and they should have just made Harbaugh an absolute offer that he could not refuse. They should have just said, we want you, let's go. Or they should have taken a chance and offered the OC from the Detroit, which, the jury's out. The jury is out on him. You have no idea if he will be a good head coach. I think he's an elite OC. I think that's indisputable. And that, he stayed with Detroit. But I think if they potentially could have made him an offer, and you take the chance. Because if it ends up, if you can't get Harbaugh, then you take the chance, because I don't get what you gain by running it back with your head coach right now, and then just getting another OC out of Seattle. Like, when you have a Caleb Williams, right? When you have a Ferrari or a Maserati or a Lambo, you don't drive it like a Honda. You don't drive it like a Toyota. You drive it like a Ferrari. You drive it like a Lambo. And to me, that is the problem when you have these subpar coaches. It's no reason why these, because think about what we're saying about Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams has potential Whether you believe it or not, he technically has the potential to be in the same conversation as Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady, right? This GOAT level status. That is the goal. What do those two GOAT quarterbacks have in common? They have GOAT coaches, Bill Belichick and Andy Reid. It matters. It's not luck. It's not just, well, they became GOATs because of Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes. No. They're great. They are absolutely positively great. So the Bears need to do everything they can, because that's also the problem. If Caleb Williams doesn't play at a very high level or has some issues, it's like, well, are these his issues? Is it coaching? What's going on? And when you're firing your coaches left and right, getting a new OC, getting a new head coach, you don't have that trust. If Andy Reid went to the GM, went to ownership and said, Patrick Mahomes is just not good enough, which would obviously be crazy, you could trust him. You can trust Andy Reid's evaluation. When Andy Reid says, we need to get Patrick Mahomes, he's unbelievable, you can trust him. When Andy Reid says, this guy is going to be a generational talent, no one really knows this, we need to get him, it is going to change the face of the franchise, you can trust him. When any of these other coaches say, Caleb Williams is going to be the best, or Caleb Williams is probably overrated, he's not that good, you can't trust him. You don't have that trust. They haven't earned it. So that's just the way I see it. I would absolutely love to hear yours. What do you think about the Bears? And how do you think they're going to play this coming season? What do you think about the huge strides that they made? And, do you think coaching will hold them back in any measurable way? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of, and I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.